From the Berkshires to the Sound, from wherever you live in MLB America, this is Inside the Parker. You give us 22 minutes and we'll give you the scoop on Major League Baseball. Now, here's Baseball Hall of Fame voter number 57.
You have another hot take.
Will not NOT make the playoffs.
Shohei me the money.
Rob Parker.
Come on! I've been covering Major League Baseball for almost 40 years now. In New York, in Cincinnati, in Detroit, in LA. I love this game. Let's go! Welcome into the podcast, and I'm your host, Rob Parker. And what a show we have for you today. Before we even get started, remember, press this button, the subscribe button, so that you're always here, always up to date with all the best coverage of Major League Baseball. As you know, I've been covering baseball since 1986. I love the sport. This is the place for your baseball fix. Welcome into the podcast. I'm your host, Rob Parker, and what a show we have for you today. Coming up, we'll talk with Los Angeles Angels manager Ron Washington, plus Bobby Nightingale, who covers the Twins for the Star Tribune in Minnesota. He joins us, and we'll have a Parker pushback, that and much more. Let's go.
To lead off, it's Getting Robbed.
And keep them up.
Rob's hot take on the three biggest stories in Major League Baseball. Number one.
I know you get tired of us talking about Aaron Judge, the Yankee superstar, right fielder. We know how great he is. We know about the home runs, the MVPs. But we really, really need to focus in on where he's turned the corner here. And he's not just a home run hitter or Kyle Schwarber where you're hitting home runs but batting 200 or something. Coming into Wednesday night's action, Aaron Judge was batting .411. Hello? Is this on? That was after a 4-for-4 night against the Guardians in Cleveland. .411 going into Wednesday night's action. He's not just a home run hitter. He's a hitter. One of the best. You know how hard it is to hit 300 in the big leagues? It doesn't even happen. The league average is like 242. And here's the other scary part. Judge's strikeout rate is like one of the lowest in the game, 21.2, like strikeout rate, and which is almost lower than the league average. That is how much he makes contact, how much he hits for average. He can shorten up and get you a double and driving a run with a single. He could also go yard if you need him. I mean, we're really watching a guy who's having a dominance like Barry Bonds had. And I know putting him in that name, but we're serious when you can hit for average and for power. Most of the time you have to give up your power if you want to hit for average to make sure you can, connect with the ball. But that's not the case with Judge. He still can take that swing, can still get a double, can still get a single. But if the pitch is right, he could also hit it out of the park. It's an incredible thing Aaron Judge has done in a league where guys just don't hit 300 anymore. This dude is hitting 400.
Number two.
I know when you think about the San Diego Padres and their hot start to this 2025 baseball season, you're automatically going to think about Machado and Tatis and guys like that and the big bats and whatnot. But it's pitching. It's pitching that's gotten them off to a great start, their best start at home in their history. I think since they went to the World Series back many moons ago. But let's think about this. They've thrown 7 shutouts in their first 24 games. That's coming into Wednesday night's action. And Nick Pivetta has been unbelievable. 4-1 with a 1.20 ERA. King's been great for them. I mean, pitching is what wins. Yes, you need timely hitting. It's great when you have mashers who could hit home runs. But when you're getting this kind of pitching, and guess what? Can I give you a history lesson? A team hasn't had 7 shutouts in their first 24 games since the 1992 Atlanta Braves. And that 1992 Braves team had 2 Hall of Famers on it. It tells you about the pitching so far for the Padres and that they're going to be in this. This will be a race in the NL West. It's not a Dodgers runaway. The Padres are involved. The Giants have played well. The Dodgers, of course, will be there. And even Arizona has some really good pitching as well. And they should stay in the race for a while too. So this is going to be some division. But when you look at the Padres, look at their pitching. It's the reason they sit atop of the NL West.
Number 3.
Talk about rising to the occasion. On Tuesday night, star left fielder James Wood delivered for fans. It was his bobble night in D.C., and guess what? He went 3 for 5, had a couple of doubles, and helped the Nationals win a game, and fans couldn't be any happier. They get the bobblehead, they get the win, and this young slugger delivers for the team with 3 hits on his special night. Coming into Wednesday's action, 253 batting average, 7 home runs, 17 RBI. What a great start. Great kid, bats left, throws right, a rarity. You don't see that many guys doing that anymore. But James Wood looks like a young star, and the Nationals hit a home run, literally, with this kid who's from Maryland. So you can't get any better than that. A homegrown product delivering for the fans down in the nation's capital.
Here comes the big interview. Listen and learn.
Oh, it's so good.
Now let's welcome in Los Angeles Angels manager Ron Washington joining us here on Inside the Park. Ron, how are you?
I'm doing very well. It's a beautiful day.
Always, always. Thank you. Let's start here. Your team off to a good start. First 20 games, 10-10. Any thoughts on just surprise at the start, or this is what you were hoping or expected?
No, I'm not surprised. And if you want to talk about expectations, I wasn't expecting 500. I was expecting better than 500, and I know my players are expecting better than 500. But it's a start. You got to start somewhere. At least we're not starting in a position where we have to catch up. Now we just have to find some sustainability and get some consistency in our offense.
Yeah, that's the big thing, because you bury yourself in a big hole early on in April, it's hard to climb out of it.
Well, that's where 500 comes in. But no one should be happy with 500. I'm not, being a competitor. No, I'm not happy with 500. Like I said, I know my players aren't happy with 500. But we put ourselves in positions to win ball games, and I think this year we're going to learn how to win some of those games.
Let's talk about Mike Trout, of course, moved to right field. The power's there, batting average isn't there. Where is Mike Trout at the start of this season? He's healthy.
He's coming. You got to understand, it's been 2 years since Mike has been in a consistent situation where he was out on the field doing things. And, sometimes he hit the ball hard and everything got 11 guys on the field. And but he's coming, he's working at it every day. We're talking about Mike Trout. We're not just talking about some run-of-the-mill baseball player.
Future Hall of Famer.
Future Hall of Famer, and we only, 50 to 60 at-bats into the season? You can start checking Mike about 100 at-bats, and you'll see what Mike Trout is all about.
Let's talk about Kyron Paris, the young second baseman, got off to a great start, power, stealing bases. What's the difference between last year when he was up here and this year as far as hitting?
Growth. He's starting to understand how to relax. He's starting to understand what he can do and what he can't do. And we're trying to help him to develop the things that right now he's not able to do. And that's what growth is all about. You can see he's a talent. He showed some flashes of what he's capable of doing. And now, once again, you get to that word sustainability and consistency. We need him to start sustaining things. We need him to make the adjustments that need to be made. And then we'll find out what type of big league player he is. But right now, you got to give him kudos for what he's have accomplished to this point.
Our guest is Ron Washington, Los Angeles Angels manager. I want to ask you about surprises so far on the roster. Is there anybody else? Obviously, Kyron's off to a great start, but anybody else who has surprised you so far?
Well, we got to go to the bullpen. Johnson has been a great surprise, a kid that hadn't thrown one inning of professional baseball, and here he is on our roster picking up big innings. He has cold blood. He just goes out there and he trusts what he's capable of doing. And for a young kid that haven't had any professional experience, that's something you learn and through the process. and it's something that's a part of him right now. And I love that kid because he don't shy away from anything. I like what Detmers is doing. And, we just got to start being able to get him more innings out there because he looked like he's a good piece in that bullpen. Other than that, again, we're just looking for sustainability and consistency. And once we start to gathering that on the offensive side, I think you're going to really get a good look at what we are about in 2025.
And how about starting pitching? You just mentioned your bullpen guys. In baseball, you got to have guys who can eat up innings and a starting staff. Are you happy? Do you think you probably have to add somebody else down the road or in the future, or where are you on a starting staff?
Well, I don't think when you start with a staff, unless, you're getting blessed by the baseball guys, that you finish with that same staff. I think Soriano has the potential to get us close to 170, 180 innings this year. I think Ochanowicz has a chance to at least get us to 170. We got T.A. who's showing what he's about as far as his competitiveness goes. We got Kyle Hendricks, who's a presence, who knows how to pitch. In his last two starts, it's been one pitch that has done him in, and we just haven't been able to make up for it. But usually, when you're in a 3-run ball game, and it lasts throughout the game, you feel like you in the ball game, and that's the way we felt, and that's the way Kyle has been, So, I'm very pleased with our starting pitching. I'm pleased with the growth of our bullpen, and of course we got Jansen on the back to close it. We will be getting Joyce back soon. So we just got to hold the fort and keep going. That's all we can do. Every day we come out here, we got to grind, and we got to take advantage of the opportunities that presented, and present less opportunities to the opposition.
One last question. Tim Anderson made the team out of spring training. Wasn't, in the big leagues last year, at the end of last year. This is a guy who won a batting title, had one of the most iconic home runs in the cornfield in Iowa, has played at a high level. Just talk about his return to the big leagues and what he's trying to accomplish and reestablish himself.
He's been a real, I wouldn't say a pleasant surprise, because the skill set that he has is still there. He may not be swinging the bat the way he can and the way we probably know he can. But, again, we're only in April. And in this game, there's two things that happen. You get off good or you get off bad. And he's gotten off bad as far as the numbers go on the offensive side. But he's been doing everything else. He's playing tremendous defense. When he get on a base pass, he's a threat. And we just got to let it grow. And that's what you call a process. But I've been very pleased with his work ethic. I've been very pleased at the type of teammate that he's been. And I know that there's something left in him. And before this year's over, we'll get it out of him. All
right. We appreciate it. Ron Washington, L.A. Angels manager. We appreciate you for joining Inside the Parker.
Well, thank you for having me.
Always.
In case you missed Rob Parker on the MLB Network, here's his latest appearance on MLB Now.
The showdown is not meant to cause offense or harm. The viewer acknowledges any reliance on the accuracy or completeness of said content should be done at their own discretion. The host apologizes in advance for any affront as a result of personal attacks.
Rob Parker making his weekly appearance. He takes shots from outside. Rob, great to have you back on the show. Hello.
What's up, BK? How are you?
I just want to say the phrase double pizza boxes, because you're the guy who came up with the term. You're the guy who calls the bases when they got larger. Pizza boxes are. But we saw a couple of collisions at first base last week. Luis Arraez crushed. Are you in favor of, they do this in college, double pizza boxes?
No, I do not want it. I know it happens every so often, and you go, oh, my goodness gracious, that's a shame. And I'm not unsympathetic.
What's wrong with it?
Don't think that
Why?
It just doesn't happen enough. There's no reason for it. You should be able to run to first base. Matter of fact, BK, I saw in a college game where a kid actually beat out an infield play at first base, and because he touched the base, not the safety base, he was called out. That makes no sense to me.
Wait, all right. He touched either base you can touch, and you're the safer.
He touched the regular base and was called out that he didn't use the safety base.
So there's a rule. All right. So, look, how about we compromise? I'll eliminate that rule that says you have to use it. You don't have to use it, but if you're suddenly your large first baseman is coming in your direction, you can veer off. That's all I'm saying. Just as again, it's a safety valve, really.
I understand the safety point of view, and if you can make the game as safe as possible, I just don't think it's necessary, to be honest. I think we play baseball that way, and people need to avoid a collision when they can. It happens once in a while, but to me, it's not a pressing issue in Major League Baseball.
Okay, I think it's a little more pressing than you're letting on to be. It happened twice in a week where guys got crushed, one guy concussed. And why if you can just avoid it? We don't have to play 1890 style. But all right. Hey, we're talking Earl Weaver coming up. We talked to the guy, John Miller, who wrote the book on Weaver. It's fascinating. Who is your best manager of all time? I mean, keep it in modern era. We don't have to go back to Joe McCarthy, but modern era, last generation or two, who do you have?
This is a layup. It is. Not only is he the best manager, he has the best nickname in baseball. The White Rat, Whitey Herzog. Unbelievable manager.
Bob Costas is behind me saying yes. Bob is agreeing with you, by the way.
Without question. And I remember the moment when he was a manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And Davey Johnson was a good manager, but he used to manage circles around Davey. And I remember when he had a pitcher in right field and a reliever on the mound, and he would flip-flop them depending on who was coming up. So he had two pitchers in the game, one in right field, one on the mound, a lefty and a righty. And I thought, I had never seen that. That was Whitey Herzog.
I think Earl Weaver is right there with him. Tommy Lasorda, Tony La Russa are there. Billy Martin might be the best game tactician, though, I would say. Maybe not the best resume, as good as Whitey or Earl Weaver, but tactically and what Billy did even as a coach. You look at teams the year before Billy arrived, and then when Billy Martin was there, he looks like a Hall of Fame manager.
I get it on Billy because whenever you see people move from different teams and still have success, you got to give them credit that it's something that they're doing. And you're right. Billy Martin managed a few teams, and they all were better with him around. I mean, there's other issues that would wind up coming around with Billy Martin.
Wasn't easy to live with over 6 months. Yeah, livability counts. Right, a little harder with Billy. True.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue for Billy. Not could handle the game, and he did a great job. We know that. Detroit, he did it, with the A's, obviously with the Yankees. So yeah, Billy Martin is one of the top managers. But it's the White Rat for me.
He had an identity, created a team with an identity. So did Earl Weaver. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Max Fried, you're big on Max Fried. Sell me on Max Fried. I'm a little cool on him. Tell me why you think he's so good or great.
It's not just the 4 wins and his. You throw out that first outing against Milwaukee. He's given up 3 earned runs in his last 4 games. It's this, BK. The Yankees lost the reigning AL Cy Young, who's lost for the season, and they needed somebody to take over that spot and stand up. And that's the thing that impresses me the most. Most teams, when they lose their ace in that situation, are going to be in trouble because there's nobody to take that spot.
Well, and when you sign a guy for $200 million, he should be able to take that spot. Now, I usually don't speak that way, but he's at a certain level. He's expected to be that. You know why it leaves me cold? Robin, you're an old school guy. He has 1 year with 180 innings. And I know 180 is the new 200, but he really has one excellent year with the innings and the ERA. Everything else is always missing a little something.
That's fair, but I'm saying in this spot, remember, he pitched in Atlanta. You show up to New York with that big contract, right? And you're pushed to the front of the line and told to perform. Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm looking at, and that's why when a guy can do that, that's why the Yankees have the best record in the American League, despite the injuries, despite missing some big bats, that they're still there, and that's impressive to me. And Max Fried is a big part of why the Yankees are in first place.
And you think he wins the Cy Young this year? I want to be fair. You're right. He signs a big contract, comes to New York, delivers. There's a lot to be said for that.
When Rob was a newspaper columnist, he lived by this motto: if I'm writing, I'm ripping. Let's bring in a writer or broadcaster, old or new.
Now let's welcome into the podcast Bobby Nightingale, one of my favorite baseball writers. He covers the Twins for the Minnesota Star Tribune, a rename. I know people are like, isn't it the Minneapolis Star Tribune. No, it's the Minnesota Star Tribune. Bobby, welcome into the podcast. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. So Bobby, let's go here. Just a bad start by the Twins. 8-15 in their first 23 games. On Friday, they started a home series against the Angels. Can they dig themselves out of this?
I think they can. I mean, the important thing for them is they have starting pitching. Pablo Lopez is coming back from the injured list for the series against the Angels. Joe Ryan, when he's on, I mean, he's ace caliber type stuff. A good number two. Bailey Ober's been a good number two, number three throughout his career. Simeon Wood Richardson and Chris Paddock round out the rotation. And then they have two guys, David Festa and Zebby Matthews, have been kind of bouncing between the majors and AAA, who they got experience in the playoff when they were running for a playoff spot last year. So, I've covered a lot of bad teams in Cincinnati, and it's one of those, if you can pitch, you can win that'll carry you throughout a season. And that's the fortunate thing for the Twins. They can't hit right now, but they can pitch.
And the division is what I want to talk about too. The AL Central is pretty tough, okay? Guardians off to a great start, okay? The Tigers, we know what they did a year ago, and they're playing well. And then Kansas City's off to a rocky start as well, but they have a lot of good players too. That's four teams, like they are all bunched together. How many of those teams are going to be able to make it to the postseason? Probably two of them.
Yeah, I would think at least two. I mean, maybe three. Last year was three, and the Twins were right. Barely. It took a choke for them to miss two. So, I mean, it's competitive. I mean, Detroit kind of up on the upswing. I mean, they have Tarek Skubal, the best pitcher I think in the American League, and a lineup that's kind of growing with them. Cleveland, I mean, they don't have the star power, but somehow, some way, they always keep finding a way to turn out pitching, and they win a lot of close games every year. And one of those teams you can't write off. And then Kansas City, I mean, I know they're off to a rocky start, but I like their team a lot. I mean, Cole Reagans and Seth Lugo, the pitching they have, Bobby Witt Jr. might be the best all-around shortstop in the game. So, it's one of those. I mean, the Twins know with the bad start they've gotten off to, that puts you in a hole. It's hard to come back from when you're in a tough division.
Our guest is Bobby Nightingale, of course, who covers the Minnesota Twins for the Star Tribune. Let's talk about Royce Lewis, who, when he's healthy and can play, is a dynamic player, the third baseman in DH. What's the update on him? You had a tweet, didn't you?
Yeah, he's running the bases. By the time people are listening to this podcast, he might have started a rehab assignment. He mentioned, Friday the Twins play and the Timberwolves play next door against the Lakers, and some players might try to do both, hit both, but he'll probably be in St. Paul across town doing his rehab assignment. So huge news for the Twins. I mean, he's a guy who, when he's on the field, for the most part, he's been pretty electric. They've been missing his power. I mean, he's a guy who, sets home run records for, a fewest amount of games to hit a certain mark. So huge for them. It is a hamstring injury in spring training. Slowly but surely, he's been kind of building up and finally got to the point where he's running bases this week. But been hitting on the field for a while, doing defensive drills for a while. So running was the last step, and he finally did that.
How about Byron Buxton? The other night, he made a fantastic catch to win the game. He's healthy. We know that he can play center field. What are the expectations for him if he's healthy and stays in the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be, a dark horse MVP type candidate. I mean, obviously the team has to kind of respond and win behind him, but he's been an unbelievable base runner. I remember there was a stat. It was like the first 20 times he got on base this year, he scored 15 times. So I mean, it tells you, one, he's stealing bases. Two, he can score on anything. I mean, a single from first, he can get around on. So I mean, it's one of those. It's peak Byron Buxton. I mean, obviously there's the injury history that's going to be a concern for him the rest of his career. But this was the first offseason in more than a half decade. I mean, more than 5 years that he had a normal offseason, no procedures, no surgeries. And he came to spring training in a really good spot. And he said, mentally, that was a bigger deal than physically, just because it's been so long since he hasn't had to worry, how do I have to build up after an injury? So, the Twins are getting the best version of Byron Buxton. He's 31 and still, StatCast rates him as the second or third fastest guy in the game. So, a guy who's getting faster as he gets older, which is a rare thing. And, Twins are taking advantage of it.
Yeah, he's an exciting player to watch, no doubt about it. All right, final two questions, just the strength of this team, and then give me the weakness that they might have to address, later on in the season, trade deadline or whatever. What's the strength of this team?
I think eventually it'll be the bullpen. They've had a rocky start with it, but when you have Joan Duran and Griffin Jacks in the back of the bullpen, Brock Stewart, they just got back from the injured list. I mean, that's three relievers that they really trust, that have experienced pitching in big games. I think that'll carry them throughout the season. You saw it with Cleveland last year, where Cleveland basically had an unbelievable bullpen and won a division because of it. I'm not saying the Twins will be that level of success, but I think it's the strength of their roster. And then the weakness is just kind of finding the power in their lineup. They had an injury to Matt Wallner. He's a guy that we're counting on for 30 homers. He's out with a hamstring. Obviously, Royce Lewis is on the way back, but they don't really have many guys that are going to hit 20, 25 home runs this year. And so that puts more pressure on the offense to find other ways to score. And, Carlos Correa is off to a slow start. Trevor Larnach's off to a slow start. So they need some guys to get going at the same time. Byron Buxton's been okay, but without the power in the lineup, they have to find different ways to score. And that's been the big challenge for them. That's why they're off to the slow start.
His name is Bobby Nightingale, covers the Twins for the Star Tribune. Bobby, thank you so much. I'll see you down the road at a ballpark near you. Thank you, buddy.
Of course. Great seeing you.
Now, here's the best from MLBBro.com.
Yo, this is Pierce from Spitting Straight Facts on MLBBro.com. The only thing that can stop Yankees outfielder Trent Grisham is fatherhood. Grisham heads to the paternity list after a strong first month of the regular season. He's known as a defensive wizard in the outfield, but his .213 career batting average has given some fans pause since he arrived in the Bronx last year. But so far, he's scorching hot in 2025 with a slash line of .320, .393, .700. Grisham's club's 6 home runs and 13 RBIs over 20 games, and his 1.093 OPS ranks 6th among qualifying players entering Monday. So congratulations to the new dad. It's going to be hard to keep Grish out of the lineup once he's back. This is Pierce. Those are straight facts on MLBBro.com.
For more, right now, go to MLBBro.com.
No! This is baloney!
It's the Parker Pushback.
Shut the up!
Here, Rob tackles the outlandish takes in Major League Baseball.
You idiot! Shut up!
Today, I'm pushing back on all those people who still are not on board with the resurgence of Major League Baseball. Can we stop it already? The rule changes, the young stars in the game. Baseball is growing and the popularity is growing. Last Friday, Major League Baseball had 14 games on tap, no home openers or anything. And you ready for this? The sport averaged 35,000 fans at those 14 games. It was the largest Friday night crowd since 2008. We're talking 17 years. 35,000 fans on a Friday night in April. It's still cold back east. Have you watched the video? Stop listening to people who are telling you that baseball's a dinosaur and only old people go to it and people don't pay attention to it or whatever. Please. The NBA would die to get 35,000. Are you kidding? 35,000 in April. And the season's just starting. Wait till the weather warms up. Look at the young stars peppered all over. And then the other big stars, the Judges and the Ohtanis, Manny Machado and all these other guys. I can go on and on. Bobby Witt Jr. My goodness, the game is healthy. And the attendance numbers tell you all you need to know. When people get up out of their chairs, leave their homes to go to the ballpark, it tells you they're engaged. I'm Rob Parker, and that's my pushback.
Make way for Weekend Wagers.
Yo, it's Sean Bo. Fire up those bed naps. Let's go. A 1-win, 1-loss last weekend brings us to 5 wins, 3 losses so far in the season, but let's get it right this Friday and Saturday as we take a look at one of the bigger matchups of the season. Yamamoto against Skeens. Yes, the Pittsburgh Pirates visit the Los Angeles Dodgers, and while Skeens has seen better days, we think this overwhelming offense of the Dodgers takes it for us on Friday. Take the -1.5, take the run line, take the win. And on Saturday, if the Chicago White Sox and the A's are playing, balls are flying out of West Sac's tiny little itty-bitty AAA stadium. Go ahead and take the over 9.5 runs on Saturday. Let's get these dubs for Inside the Parker.
Hi, I'm Rob Parker, the founder and editor of MLBBro.com, where we cover black and brown major leaguers. 75% of the content will be about the current black and brown stars in Major League Baseball. The other 25%, we'll take a look back at some of the great black players. On the site, there'll be a ton of great written stories and videos and features.
MLB Bro, because you need to know.
MLB fans, when it comes to Major League Baseball, no one covers it better than the Odd Couple.
Facts. I am the baseball king.
First, second, third, and home.
We're leading shows with baseball.
Game over. They don't watch it.
They don't know the game.
All in one place. Right here on Fox Sports Radio.
I love baseball.
In the words of New York TV legend, the late Bill Jorgensen, thanking you for your time this time until next time. Rob Parker, out.
He can't get it. This could be an Inside the Parker.
See you next week. Same bat time, same bat station.